everybody, thank you so much for joining us today here on LabCoatAgents. We've got some exciting guests for you and some really awesome stuff here. The title, as you know, is Subconscious Sales Secrets: How to Rapidly Increase Your Sales and Your Results. So if you don't know about NLP, now we're live on Facebook. So you see, we actually started a tiny bit early. Okay, so I was telling everybody we're super excited to be here today. We are going to be learning subconscious sales secrets, how to rapidly increase your sales and your results. And ultimately, it's all about results, right? So thank you for joining us today, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. So we've got some really exciting stuff. We've got Cappi Pidwell with us, and Julia is going to introduce her because she's worked with her for quite some time. So I'm going to hand it over to Julia.
Hi. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. And thanks for watching and being a part of this. I have been in the title industry for over 18 years. And 2020 was, I think, one of the best years of my career. I tripled my business and I've been working with so many more agents than I ever have before. And you might say maybe it's because of the pandemic times, but I can tell you since 2019, when I first met Cappi Pidwell, it all turned around for me. I became the Vice President Area Sales Manager for Corinthian Title Company. And we are, if you don't know about us, we're the largest locally owned and independently operated title company in California. We make all of our preliminary title reports here, and we have more tools to support, the goals for my agents than ever before, that I've ever had in my entire career. But the tools and expertise and having top professionals behind me didn't necessarily mean my success. You have to have mindset. And that's where Cappi came in. I did her subconscious sessions, I still do them, and I saw immediate results. It gave me the confidence and the self-esteem that I needed to do my job better because I was being held back. We all experience those holdbacks. Maybe it was fear of rejection for me, or procrastination. Sometimes we self-sabotage, but her program actually helped me to release all those fears, get beyond that, get on the phones, make my phone calls, reach out to more people, and be more successful. I tripled my business, and that's because I believed in what I could do. I believed in myself. I believed in the products and the tools and the expertise that I have after 18 years, and I was able to offer that to my customers and help them succeed. So I really embrace her programs for everyone in this business. It's so highly competitive, whatever walk of life, whatever place you are. If you're just a beginner and starting out, if you've been doing it for 20 years, you will benefit and grow your business. And Cappi, so you know her background. She's been doing this for over 30 years. She's an international speaker and a leading expert in human behavior. As a Master of NLP, that stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, which she will tell you all about, advanced hypnotherapy, and a master results coach. She's been studying mindset mastery for 2 decades, and she's worked with thousands of individuals, associations, and corporations, from Keller Williams, RE/MAX, First American Title, SCORE, Women's Counsel of Realtors, just to name a few. And her new book that she just published late last year, called The Mindset Code, was just endorsed by Stedman Graham, that's Oprah's other half. And he's also an entrepreneur, speaker, and author. So that's now available on Kindle and Amazon. And Cappi Pidwell, tell us how this works.
Yay, thank you so much, you guys. I'm excited to be here. I am very happy New Year to everybody. I'm just very happy to information with all of you today. So I'm going to share my screen and turn my face off because I want to really get into some of the details with all of you today. So I'm gonna share my screen and we'll get started. I do recommend, for those of you that are driving, obviously you can go back and watch the replay. But for those of you that are sitting and watching and attending, I would recommend you grab a pen and a paper. You're probably going to want to take some notes because I'm going to share things with you that you probably haven't heard, because most of it, of course, we hear a lot of information, but everything you're going to hear today is really stuff that I've created over the years of doing this. So let me turn on my PowerPoint, share my screen with you guys so that we can, I want to give you the visuals so that you're not just staring at me the whole time. It sure does help to watch the PowerPoint versus see me. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, we sure can.
Okay, can you? Okay, it looks like I have a little delay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think there's just a little delay, probably because we have the Zoom and the Facebook running together. Okay, guys, so I want to just hop into this stuff. So we're going to talk about your subconscious mind, and I really call it the sales secrets that every sales professional needs to know. So if you're, like Julia said, if you're new in the business, if you've been in the business, I have found that doing speaking and training on mindset and everything else, I find that's the biggest missing component to all the great information, all the programs and training that you probably have done and will do. You know, I often say, you know, how many things are out there, right? Like we're all balancing and juggling life and doing life. And it's really interesting that we know a lot, and yet a lot of people aren't hitting their numbers or where they want to be. So some of you are there. And sometimes when I work with really high level producers, they're hitting their numbers or they're getting their sales, but they don't have other balance, or maybe they're just overwhelmed, or, you know, they're just not really sure what it is that they need to get that balance in their life. So it can be many different things in our business. I think as an entrepreneur, we're all doing our best to grow our business and create that balance professionally. So my goal in this Zoom is really to teach you about your subconscious mind. Okay, so I'm going to open this up because we have time, and we'll open it up to questions. Maybe Alex, or you can maybe help me if you're seeing some of the comments come in during the Q&A, because I have a full screen on my PowerPoint. So I might have to get some assistance after if people are asking, just kind of wave to me, okay?
Absolutely will do.
All right, thanks. Okay, guys, so let's really get into how do we create this change? And, you know, I tell people all the time, when I speak, people often tell me, oh, you know, Cappi, that was awesome, good information. And I always say information doesn't equal your transformation necessarily. So as much information overload as we're all on today with our iPhones and our, you know, cell phones and our computers and our pads, we really are taking in more information today than we ever have. And so that's good, but I want to give you information that will equal that personal transformation for you. And here's the key. You really do have to be willing to do things different. So if you're willing, that's really the key, to be open, and I start sharing this information with you, only you know if you're ready to take your business to the level that you can. I always say it's really not the next level, there's infinite levels. Because no matter where you are, you want more, or you want something different. I call it the more, better, different factor. We're all growing. I mean, that's what we're here to do. So it's not like we just get there and go, okay, that's it. There's always more levels, right? So why is this not? Okay, my slide's not moving. Okay, there we go. All right, so as Julia mentioned, my name's Cappi Pidwell, and I have been in business almost 30 years, not quite yet, Julia, 27. And I've coached thousands of people. And I want to share my story with you guys for a minute, because I think it's important you know who I am and why I'm here talking about this. My background is in residential real estate. I was actually a title rep, and I sold real estate as a residential realtor many, many years ago. I call it my past life. And when I was selling real estate, the interest rates were at over 12%. That was a long time ago. And back then, of course, technology wasn't around, right? So, you know, we did a lot of telemarketing and cold calling, which, you know, people still make calls and that type of thing, but it was a different game. And people would call you at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and say, I'm in front of a house, can you come and show it to me? So that was my whole real estate experience. And I was selling real estate, and I got lockjaw in my jaw from stress, because I would grind my teeth at night. And I think it's important for people to understand that we all have stress and we all deal with it differently. And so when I was going through that time and I had lockjaw, my lockjaw lasted for 5 days. and I couldn't get rid of it. And so I would grind my teeth at night, wake up, have pain. But when it came one day and I couldn't get rid of it, I was in a lot of pain, and I had it for 5 days. So after the 5 days, I was drinking Slim Fast, and the muscle just got tighter. The pain got excruciating. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor sent me to an orthopedic surgeon, and they wanted to break my jaw and build me this like mouthpiece thing that I was going to have to wear for months to correct and align whatever the jaw. So I left the doctor and I went into my office, and I was talking to this lady about it, and I was crying. I was like, I'm stressed, this hurt, and of course we're in sales, right? We got to talk to people all day. I didn't want to wear that big old thing they showed me. So long story short, she and I had a conversation, and she said, Cappi, have you ever tried hypnosis? And I was like, please, that is so lame. Like, it just didn't at the time resonate with me at all. I thought it was kind of weird. And you have to remember, this was probably 30 years ago. And it wasn't like the law of attraction, and people weren't talking about this kind of learning back then. Even though hypnosis has been around longer than medicine, it wasn't the norm. So I left the office, and when we're driving and all those great downloads and thoughts come into our head because we spent so much time in the car, I was driving, and my inner voice said, what if it worked? What if you didn't have to have this surgery? And just what if, right? So I went home and I opened up the phone book, and I found one person in there that did hypnotherapy. So I called her and I went in for a session. And I have to tell you guys, when I went to see her, I was extremely skeptical, very much a type A personality. And I was married to an engineer at the time, and just really logical. So it was pretty out of the box for me. And I went, and oh my gosh, can I just tell you, it was a game changer. It was life changing for me. So I sat in her chair. I was kind of like, a little weirded out about the whole thing, but I got done, and she made me this little cassette tape. And I'm sure Julia could attest to this. It was like an hour later, I was like, what did this woman just do? It was remarkable. Not only did I feel incredible, she told me to go home and listen to my little cassette tape, just like I make products today. Of course, they're not cassette tapes, but I just started listening to this session. My TMJ was gone in an hour. I opened my eyes, gone, like nothing. I was like, what did you do to me? I felt so amazing, and I just kept listening to it, and I never suffered from TMJ, not even one day, okay, like 1 hour. That's how profound that change was. So I started working with her and seeing her, and she started making me sessions, and I ended up from there working under her for several years. She became my teacher, my mentor. And, I think the difference in having a platform today, a lot of people get, certified online in 2 days. I mean, I worked with this woman for 4 years, and I can tell you, I had my children through hypnobirthing. Well, my one daughter, not my older daughter. I had a baby through hypnobirthing. I've done major surgery with no anesthesia. It is very different when you have hands-on application training and you're in the trenches with an amazing person teaching me everything. And from there, I went on to the American Institute of Hypnotherapy, and I trained under Cat James, who, if any of you know who he is, he's pretty much the master of NLP and worked very closely with Tony Robbins back in the day. And so I've had some really instrumental, amazing people as my teachers and trainers. I am a master of Neuro Linguistic Programming. I'm a master hypnotherapist, which basically means I've gone to every level of hypnotherapy that there is to produce very rapid results for people. So I like to share that with you guys because I have personally sat in front of thousands of people. I've spoken for so many audiences. I opened for Deepak Chopra in 2015. Stedman Graham just endorsed my book, and I have to tell you, it was amazing. He read the book, contacted me, loved it, and endorsed it. So like blessing, blessing, blessing for sure. So there's more to come, hopefully, with our relationship, but that's really exciting. So I wanted to share that with you because I'm not new at this, and I personally walk and talk what I'm going to teach you all today. So I wanted to just share a little bit about me so you guys have a clear picture.
Cappi, just your voice with me because I'm so to her at
Can't hear
night.
me? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna log out, you guys, and come back in because it might be my end because it's fuzzy. I'm gonna log back in, okay?
Okay.
Sorry. That's a bummer. I wonder if I can, oh, okay. I'm just gonna go out of Zoom real quick.
I can hear you, Cappi.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, it does get choppy sometimes. You may want to turn your video off while you have the slides on.
Oh, okay. Let me try that. Sorry, guys. All right. I can't, hold on just a second. I'm going to stop my share for just a second. There we go. It might just be so much. Okay, let me stop the video. Okay. And I'll go back to the share. Can you hear me now? Is that okay?
Yep, I hear you fine right now.
Is that better? Okay. All right. Thank you.
I think maybe you couldn't hear me. That's the problem.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you can hear.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's still
Can you
working.
hear me now?
Yes, all good.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I can't see the little Zoom thing because my screen's kind of big. So, okay, there we go. All right, guys. So I want you to, if you don't know yet where you see yourself in 3 years, remember earlier I said grab a paper and a pen. I want you to get that clarity of where you see yourself in 3 years, because what I find is that people are doing their business, they're working hard, and year after year after year, their bank account stays similar. And we really don't want to work more and make less. We want to work less and make more. So take a minute and kind of, see where you want to be. And obviously the goal is always upward, right? So this is an important part of anything. And of course, you know how to set goals and you know how to do your business plan and all that. But, when you start to see yourself and visualize yourself and really work in your mindset, which I'm going to show you how to do in a few minutes, it's really amazing the things you begin to manifest. So I always say, my famous quote is, what you feel, you make real. So you might want to write that down. If you feel amazing, most people are looking for the outcome first to make themselves feel good. And it actually works backwards. So if you're waiting to make the money, or you're waiting to get the house or the car or the relationship or the body or the whatever, you're doing it backwards, right? So if you feel it first and you see things happening, or you imagine things occurring and you feel fabulous without the physical thing in front of you, then the physical thing follows. So I often say it's like standing in front of a mirror and looking at the reflection and, not being happy and expecting the reflection to smile. It doesn't happen that way. You have to do it first, and then the reflection follows. And that's exactly how the universe works. So it's important that you understand where you want to see yourself in a few years, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about the subconscious mind now. And again, this is so powerful, you guys, and it will give you really rapid results in one session, as I mentioned with my TMJ. Now, I will say the longer you listen, the more powerful it becomes. And a lot of times people come to me and they go, oh, Cappi, I did this, or I tried this. And I find, like I said earlier, we have so much information. It's not just a session. There is a recipe to get the change you want. And I have it. I've been doing this a long time. So there's steps and there's processes, and repetition is a part of that process. Very, very important. And you don't want to put something in and listen to it one night and then put something else in. It's not as effective as if you just really reprogramming that subconscious mind the right way with the right information. That will get you the long-term change. Okay, so let me show you how this works. So this is a page taken out of my new book, The Mindset Code. And I have been speaking on this model because again, a lot of this stuff you've heard, but it's important to understand how it works. So the mind, basically, we have this circle that shows 90%, which is our subconscious mind, and the other 5 to 10% is our conscious mind. Now, your conscious mind is your thinking mind, okay? We think at up to 500 words a minute in our own head, and that's a busy place to be, right? Can you guys still hear me? Okay, I can't see you guys. I don't know where my little
Yes,
Zoom
we can hear
window
you.
went. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, fabulous. So the 5 to 10% of the mind, that 500 words a minute, this is where people are analyzing everything. They're, thinking and they're worrying, or they're not worrying, or they're fearing or not, or doubt, or all that stuff that Julie was talking about. We get very busy in our heads. So what I see in a lot of traditional trainings and programs and people talking is like, think positive or do affirmations. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but it takes a lot of work. It doesn't work as well as this, because that's only addressing that 5 to 10% of your mind. So if somebody says to me, like, I'm a millionaire, or whatever they want to create, but their subconscious doesn't hold the belief, that affirmation, so to speak, ends up kind of falling flat. Or that internal talk goes, oh, that'd be nice, or, those kinds of things. So the subconscious, you guys, is 90% of your mind, okay? And from the ages of 0 to 8 years old, 80% of that subconscious, if you were to imagine, like right here, 80% of this circle is full by the time you're 8. And what I mean by full is you've been programmed 80% of your, almost think of it like a computer with a hard drive. If it has so much space and then 80% of it is taken up, it's exactly what happens to us as little people. We get downloaded with images and events and programming. We watch our parents, we watch our families, and we learn in this environment to think and to feel and to be based on what we're being taught, basically. So what happens as we get older, from 8 to 19 years old, it's only 15% more of programming through those teen years. So basically, by the time a person's 18 years old, 95% of their subconscious is set. So all that means is, if you look at that 90%, just imagine it full of data. It's like you have apps in there running your decisions, running your behaviors, running your thoughts. And so a lot of times when people come to me and they go, oh, Cappi, I want this outcome, I'll start asking them questions, and, they've tried things, and they are smart, and they have desire and passion and all these things. And then when I say, have you ever explored your subconscious? And they're like, what? So I call it the biggest missing piece and component to training, because what I like to do is marry my information with other people's information, because I'm not going to teach you how to go get a listing presentation. I'm not going to teach you any of that stuff, but I'm going to teach you about you, kind of like Julia. I didn't go teach her how to be a title rep. And I was one, right? I taught her how to get her own obstacles out of the way so that she could hone in on her strategies and the things that worked for her to get new outcomes, which is what I do when I help my sales professionals get really rapid results. So when you leverage your subconscious mind and you know how to program it properly, there's a lot of, again, information and ways out there, but my systems work. They're proven. Again, they're amazing. So I'll share more about my system, how it works and why it works at the end. If any of you are interested, I also have some free resources I'll share with you if you just want to go check out some free downloads. I'll give you all that at the end. I'll also open it up for questions. So again, I want you to get the importance of your subconscious, and please understand that your subconscious is programmed different than other people's. So when I do my group programs, sometimes every few months, I'll do a live where I coach a group of people. And it's fascinating to me that I'm talking and I'm doing the same information, but the people are getting different results based on their own subconscious. So I want you to understand this isn't about anyone other than you. And as we begin to explore your subconscious and I open this up, think about some of those common things where you get stuck. Sometimes people want to make more money. I specialize in people increasing their income. I have a program called Mental Money Mastery. I've been working on people's money mindsets for years. It's in a lot of my programs because I find it a big piece, because when people used to come to me in my practice, they would always say, oh, Cappi, you've done all these things. What if you could help me with money? And I used to make jokes and go, I need to help, I need to make a money program. So of course I did, based on the need of most of my clients. So it's really fun to begin to explore. Now, your subconscious mind, I want you guys to get this. It's so important to understand this. Your subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more effective as an information processor than your logical mind. 1,000,000. It's like night and day. So rapid results when you start accessing your powerhouse. So I'm just the person who helps you access it, who helps you upgrade it. It's kind of like getting new apps, right? I'm like the app girl, I guess you could say, for the mind. That's really what this is about. And the reason I think I love working with sales professionals so much is because I'm one. I did the job. And I've had my own business for so many years. I'm also a single mother. I raised 2 kids by myself. So between the balance of being a single parent, running a business, creating programs, products, coaching, speaking, we were talking earlier before this started, and I was sharing with Julia that it's so fascinating how with technology today, like in the past, I'd be driving 2 hours to get somewhere, or I'd be on a plane or get a hotel to go speak for an hour or two. So it's really technology has been amazing. So think of your mind the same way. It's like the most brilliant technology. So if you're not leveraging it and you're not maximizing your mindset and putting new data in there that's getting you the outcome you want and using your imagination, you're missing the boat. I'm telling you right now, it's not just about logic. And what's cool to me is I've been having the same conversation for many, many years now. And people are finally like, oh, that's so cool. And I have to tell you, 25 years ago, people looked at me cross-eyed, like, oh, what is this? And I got so much resistance. So I always laugh and say, if I could go into cold audiences and talk about hypnosis and money, you can go in front of anyone and talk about anything, because it was a lot of resistance back then. So I love that people are welcoming this finally. It's pretty cool. All right, so I want to tell you what happens when you start working in your subconscious. Change happens really naturally, you guys. So a lot of times people go, does it work? Well, your mind works if you know how to work it. Okay, so what really is interesting to me too is when people are like, I don't know if you guys ever watch those TV commercials where they show the prescriptions and they're like 5 minutes long and they play all this happy music and they're like, oh, and the side effects are you might have a heart attack, you might go blind, you could die in your sleep or whatever. They're so horrible, but they have all this happy music. I mean, talk about suggestion, talk about, I say TV is the biggest hypnosis machine in the world. It fascinates me. Oh yeah, I'm going to go sign up and pay for that to give me 5 million horrible side effects to take care of my asthma or whatever. So know that this is natural. Your brain is the best pharmacy on the planet. Okay, I have helped so many people. I don't do that today, but I could tell you story after story after story of people I've helped with their health. A lot of cancer patients back in the day. Again, I don't do that anymore, but I don't do a lot of private clients anymore. But anyway, it happens really naturally. And I would say immediately you just feel clear and confident. Julia was talking about it earlier, her confidence, but I noticed the same thing for myself, just a feeling of clarity and like purpose, and things rolled off my back, and you start to increase your income. And I can tell you, when I was in doing real estate sales and I started learning this, people started coming to me. I started getting those coincidences. I know it sounds bizarre, but it was just amazing to me how when I was clearing out that mental clutter and I started getting good downloads every day and listening to stuff, I rapidly increased my income, as I've helped so many people do. But it's not just about the money, it's the overall success and satisfaction and balance and bliss, really, that started to happen. And can you upgrade your results? So you still want to do, obviously, like I said at the beginning, visualize, seeing where you want to be, the goal setting and the planning. That's very important. I call that intention. That's conscious intention and attention. Where am I going, right? Like if we're going to take a trip, we have to have a place we're going to go. But I'm not the goal setter that goes, I have to make 100 calls a day. I don't do things that way, but the intention and intention and attention is very, very important. And then when you just feel it first, it's amazing how you'll be brought down that path. It's pretty cool. And then of course, preach. Oh, how funny. I spelled peace wrong. Peace of mind. And then just closing more deals, getting in front of people, having amazing conversations with people, connecting with them in a way that is really going to help you stand out. And, you know, everybody knows that we ultimately purchase people. If we like someone, if we like what they're saying, if we, you know, see that they can do the job, and, you know, your sellers are the same way. It's not just the you know, person in the area or the person that's, you know, dominating that territory or whatever you're in. It's really about who you are, how you serve them, what tools you can bring them, the value they're getting from you. And I always say with my clients, yes, I am a hypnotherapist, I'm a master of NLP, I do all these things, but I'm a teacher. And I teach people how to get results. And then the application is what they pay me for, right? So I can go speak and teach, but if nobody does it, just like if somebody doesn't sign the contract with you, you can go out and show them the best, you know, property profile and show them the bells and whistles. But if they're not connecting with you and you're not asking the right questions, then it's not going to be as easy to get that deal signed right then and there. So, you know, I'm very picky too. I always tell my agents and my real estate investors, be picky who you work with. Get clear on who your client is, because not everybody's your client. Find the right people. I end up being friends. I mean, that's why Julia and I here, she was saying, I mean, I met her as a client and she's become a friend. And so be picky. But your subconscious mind, let's talk about how the sessions work, because that's where the juice is, you guys. When we start to access the subconscious, here's basically what hypnosis is. Now, I integrate a lot of NLP into my hypnosis sessions. So every person who does NLP is different, okay? Some people utilize it in a conscious state. I like to integrate it. I am heavy into the hypnotherapy part of it because I love just the way I've kind of blended the modalities. I'm also a certified in timeline therapy, EFT. I use a lot of modalities to access someone's subconscious mind, but hypnosis is it's my thing. I love it. So it's basically, and you know, I tell people, get rid of the word. I mean, so many misconceptions with, oh, are you going to hypnotize me to do this? You're already hypnotized. And I tell people I have to undo more than I have to do, right? So it's really, here's the simplicity. It's just a relaxed state of mind, okay? So when you begin to relax, and meditation is not hypnosis, by the way, they're the same levels of mind, the alpha theta state, but when you relax, you begin to access your subconscious, okay? So it's very simple. That's my job. I help people relax, and then we start downloading. So step 2 is having the right specific suggestions put in your subconscious mind. So by relaxing and getting the new input, which is my job, that's why I make the products for people, then we get access to your subconscious and you start to remove the old resistance to change. So it's funny to me that people often want change. They want a new outcome, but then they resist the change. So remember at the beginning, I said, you have to be willing to do things different. This is a different way to accomplish change. And I have to say it's the easiest thing ever if you do it right. So step number 3 in my little image here is to maximize your mindset. When we start to turn that 5 to 10% off, you guys, when we start to quiet it, it's almost like I say we put that conscious, critical inner talker in the back seat for a little while. Okay, that's basically what it does. This bypasses the critical logical mind, and then we tap into that million times more effective information processor called your subconscious mind. And it works. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's fast, it's fun, it's powerful. And again, you do need repetition, as I mentioned earlier. And that is such an important key to my client's success, because a lot of times people think, oh, I'm just going to do a session. That's good. And you'll feel amazing, like my jaw. But then I listened over and over and over. And there's so many other benefits. So the body just starts to integrate that. And my TMJ never came back. So had I never listened to those sessions over, I don't know what the outcome would have been. I still got rid of the symptom, but the long-term effects of never having it again came through me beginning to believe different. It is a process. Do you guys have any questions before I move on?
I just wanted to point out that I did listen to my subconscious sessions nightly for a couple months. Even though I got results, I still, knowing that it was important to do it repeatedly, I wanted to make sure it all stuck in there. So, but it's so easy. I mean, it's really just a few minutes a day. And I just did it right before I fell asleep. That was a good time for me. It helped me better sleep too, I have to say.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing for a good night's sleep. I actually did a session last night and slept like a baby. So it's very good for a lot of things, you guys. But, as we're upgrading the subconscious, I'm very specific in sales. So when I help my clients, there's key components I talk about and I'm going to show you my subconscious program in just a moment. There's really key components in putting that specific data, right? It's not like meditation. I say it's more like, oh, you're in a meadow and you're letting go of whatever. But when it comes to selling and really getting the right communication in your subconscious, that's really what I focus in on in the subconscious selling secrets. So let me talk a little bit about that. So this, I just want to share this with you. Of course, I have Julie on the phone, but I want to share with you. I have a client. This guy's name is Luke, and I have to tell you, he has become my business partner. He heard of me and lives in Texas about probably a little over a year ago, and this guy is genius. Okay, he is so smart. And he does a lot of online marketing and things like that. So he called me and he's like, Cappi, I know my stuff inside and out, but I have something in my mindset. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm just not there. So I said, okay, here's what we can do. And And I said, what do you do? And he started telling me what he did. And I'm like, I need help with that. So I am not a tech queen at all. And so he basically does all my technology now. We've taken my whole business online, all my products and programs. And like I said, now he's my business partner. So I have to tell you though, Luke has 10 times his business in this past year. And like Julia, it's been amazing to watch him because he already had so much knowledge, but he had a lot of emotional and mental blocks around his success. So it's been really cool to watch him, and I'm so grateful for this guy. He's changed my life as much as I've changed his. So you just, again, it's fun to watch these kind of successors. So let's talk about secret number 2 really quick. And I'm just going to get into these really fast because I want to open it up to you guys. But one of the things I teach my clients is how to do business different. So I can't tell you how much it frustrates me to go to all these real estate seminars that, of course, it's COVID. I know we're not going to them, but I've been to thousands of them. And everybody's given the same scripts and the same strategies. And there's, 2,000 people sitting in a room and they're like, do these and let's all role play. Good stuff. To me, it's very outdated because you're not going to do it how the other guy does it. And even when we listen to these amazing experts that have all these success, I love panels. I love learning from people, but I might pick up one thing from one person and another thing from another person, but it's kind of hard to duplicate. And I know Tony Robbins says do that. I disagree because what's going to fit me, it might not fit you, and it might not fit Alex, and it might not fit Julia. We all have different strengths. We all have different talents. And I really teach people how to do business different. And let me show you what I mean, okay? Because this is just so important. I can't emphasize it enough. So a lot of times, I was just saying that. So I have this client, many years ago, I was speaking at an event and I met her, and she was in a company, a real estate company, and they're like, make 100 calls a day. So I went and I spoke, I did my thing, I got done. She comes up to me and she's like, Cappi, she's like, I cannot make these 100 calls a day. I don't want to do it. I can't even make 5. Some of you can do that and love it. She couldn't. So we start chit-chatting, and I said, what did you do before this? And she said, I was a school teacher. And I said, oh, that's cool. We started talking about that. And I said, okay, we can do this, this, and this. So she got my system. And so in the system, what we did is we put her marketing together to begin to target teachers and go into schools because that was her people. She knew the system, she knew teachers. And I was like, how many teachers do you know? And she's like, oh my gosh. I said, start there. We put her whole program together that she started going into schools. She started doing like drives in schools and different events with the schools. And then the next thing you know, another school would call her. We got her a big banner made, how the teacher teaches real estate. Like we did this super cool thing all around her being a teacher, and her business blew up. Okay. She had hardly any competition because nobody was thinking out of the box and marketing that way. And I could tell you story after story how I've taken an average person who didn't want to do it the traditional way, and they started doing it their way, and their business absolutely tenfolded. So I want to encourage all of you to think about that. Okay. There's, all the people buying leads are typically buying the same leads. I'm not saying to stop doing any of that stuff, but I'm saying if you think outside the box and think about what you love and what you like. I'll give you another example. I had a guy, God, this was years ago, and he drove a red car and he had an Angels baseball sticker on it. He always wore an Angels hat. And I was like, why don't you brand yourself and take a picture in that Angels hat, put the Angels score, give out tickets. How many people love Angels? How many people, you have to think different. So, identify what you love. If you're in a bicycle club or whatever. So in my system, I have a section to kind of walk you through those steps of identifying things and coming up with some strategies and ways to market yourself in areas that maybe you haven't thought of. But you have to think outside the box, you guys. It's so powerful, and it makes business so much more fun because you're talking about things you're passionate about and things that you love to do. And it just makes closing those deals so much easier. It'll kind of blow your mind if you do it right. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm talking to people, and I put these slides in here, you guys, because this is what people tell me, right? They come up to me, and again, it's COVID, so we're doing Zoom now, but for all the years I've been a speaker, people would come up to me and go, Cappi, I'm not really a salesperson. I want to offend anybody. And I know this isn't for everybody. I'm just telling you a lot of the things I've heard. I'm very outgoing. I'm kind of a secret introvert. I've heard that so many times in sales, which is kind of funny. But I know why people get into this business. They get into it for the freedom, the flexibility, and the finances. And a lot of times people have the freedom and the flexibility and not the money or not the leads, or they don't have their systems in place. They don't have their strategies set up properly. So they're kind of winging it, chasing that deal, right? Like there's millions of houses for sale everywhere, but it's like they hone in on that one thing. That's not a business, you guys. That's a transactional hobby. Having a business is really setting up your systems, having your strategies, having your mindset clear, and then knowing who you're talking to, how you're talking to them, and being really comfortable and growing your business that way. So these are just some of the things I hear. I'm not confident. I'm not a lawyer. It's just funny. I kind of hear the same things over and over again. This is a really good thing for you to do too as a sales professional. You should write down the things you hear from your clients all the time. There's typically 5 to 7, I call them common complaints that you hear from people, and you should have the answer to those things, right? So if somebody said to me, Cappi, I'm just not good at convincing people, excuse me, I think you don't have to convince anybody. You share solutions with people. And if you know the solution and you get them the outcome, that's what you communicate. I don't have to convince anybody, right? That's not my job. My job is to share solutions and show people I know what I'm doing. If they see the value, they're going to invest their time and money with me. If they don't, they're going to learn something with me. I'll make a great connection, and they can move on their journey and me on mine. So get clear on those comments you hear from people, because I promise you they're always the same. A big one in your business, and then people go, I got to talk to my partner and I want to think about it. So think about a few comments that you can come back with, because they're throwing the ball at you. You've got to throw the ball back, and always be prepared in these conversations, because it takes you a long time to get in front of that client, that buyer, or that seller. There's typically several steps before that, right? So you just want to make sure that you're on target for all that. Okay. So I like to talk about that, because doing it your way gets you new results. And then, of course, I love to talk about people's money beliefs and their stress. I always talk about stress in my systems, because that's how I had TMJ. I think life can be stressful sometimes with balancing business and kids and families, and of course, COVID. I will share, like I said, some free resources with you. I have a free COVID stress reduction session, you guys, on my website. It is so good. It's only 10 minutes. If you know anyone that's struggling from COVID, or family members or friends, feel free to share my website with them, because it's free. They just put in their name and email and they can start listening to it every day. So let's just talk about this real quick and we'll open it up. So stress does affect every area of our life, especially around money. Like I said earlier, I do specialize in this area. So part of what I teach people is how do you explore your money relationship. And I can't even tell you guys, when I help people with this, the results I've seen when people begin to change their money mindset have just been phenomenal. So yes, there's sales. Yes, there's your strategies. But I can tell you, having an abundant mindset is priceless. So if you're worried about sales or you're worried about your business, I'm not saying you are, but those doubts and those things, if you don't have enough business or whatever, that money conversation is so thick. And so when you start to shift your money mindset and your abundant success insight, internal stuff, then it's just so much easier to put everything else in place. So I talk about that a lot. So I want to share my programs with you guys, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A. Okay. So like I said, there's always many levels, but if you want to get to whatever level you're on, I do have the Subconscious Sales Secrets. It's all online today. So you get a whole system. So I'll just share that with you pretty quickly. So it's really all about just upgrading everything internally. So it includes a membership platform. So when you purchase it, you're going to get the workbook. And I make a workbook with all my systems, you guys, because this is the conscious coaching. This is going to help you begin to discover what's stored in your subconscious in the first place. And I can tell you, as I mentioned earlier, I have the recipe to change. This is part of my recipe. Most people, when they start working in the subconscious, they just want to pile a bunch of new information in there, hoping that it dissolves their limiting beliefs. I'm not saying it won't, but it might take a little longer. So I develop workbooks. So it's almost like me sitting with you in a video, and I walk you through the workbook each week. And you're going to start to answer questions about your belief system. And you'll be amazed at the stuff that's stored inside of you. So that's step one, is identifying what's in there. So I refer to this sometimes as a trash can. Sometimes if you try to put trash on top of a trash can, it spills over. That's how I think of the mind. Sometimes we're trying to put new information, but there's so much data in there that we're not absorbing it. So when you identify and we can remove that stuff, you'll be amazed at how fast you get results. So it's 4 weeks of sales coaching with me. The MP3 audios really focus on your business strategies. So for 4 weeks, you go to the workbook, you start to identify your beliefs, then you're going to listen to a subconscious session all week. So that worksheet takes maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Then you're going to listen to a session all week. You can put the workbook away. That's all you do. And then for a week straight, you're going to listen, or 2 weeks, 2 weeks straight, you're going to listen to a subconscious session. Okay. That subconscious is going to help you get rid of a lot of the stuff in the worksheet. They go together. And then every week I have a video. So I'm talking to you and I'm walking you through the strategies. We talk about your money mindset. We address your limiting beliefs, and then really how to design your business your way. It's really cool. So it's basically a whole system. I'm also putting together the Subconscious Sales Secrets Facebook group for collaboration and connection with other people. Okay. So that's basically how I work now. It's mostly all through the systems I've created. So these are just comments and emails actually from clients. These are real emails. Cappi, we hit 50K again this month. We used to do about 10. Don't know what you did to my business part with your subconscious system, but maybe you could give them another dose of your magic fairy dust. I love what people call this stuff. There's so many names for it, but it's mindset strategies. So you just want to know it's extremely powerful. So I do like to say this, you guys, this image is powerful. So, and just take a look at it for a moment. So your subconscious mind is where your beliefs, your emotions, your habits, hello, huge, your values, your reactions, your long-term memory, imagination, and intuition. Those are all subconscious processes. Your conscious mind is your logical, critical, long-term memory, as I mentioned earlier. So I would like to say that my stuff isn't for everybody. It's very important that you understand this. So if you're somebody who's, excuse me, just starting out in like personal development, or you're not really open, or you're like, I don't think this is going to work, and you're heavy in logic, probably won't. And I like to disclose that, because there are some times where I meet people and they're not as receptive or open. So it will work for people who are, and people who are like, I'm ready to, upgrade my mindset and get new results and begin to believe something different. So that's an important thing to even say to yourself. I'm beginning to believe blah, 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 fill in the blank. So the subconscious works a certain way, you guys. That's what I'm saying. When you work with it, the results are really, really powerful. All right, so I'm also going to give you my new book, The Mindset Code, and the Kindle version if you do my program. And then I'm throwing in a stress reduction MP3 subconscious session. So you'll get 3 sessions, 4 weeks with me, my book, all the videos, and just lots of really cool stuff. So again, I kind of already said all that stuff. So the entire system's $997. And I do like to talk about money. It's a big conversation. And I find that a lot of people fear money, and they get weird about spending it, making it, saving it, investing it, not having enough of it. It's a big part of what we do in week 3 in the subconscious sales secrets, is identify your relationship to money. But I want to share this with you. Money is always replenishing itself, you guys. And how you sell and how you have your business is your income. It's very important for you to understand. A lot of times people go through these things and they speak and they, oh God, they're going to sell me something. Of course I am. That's like sitting on listing presentation and not asking for the listing. Okay. So I'm not here to offend you. I'm here to help you. But I find people cringe sometimes in these kinds of conversations. So it's important that you understand that every time you sell your services, your homes, your investments, whatever it is, that's how you make your money. That's how you grow and flow in your own wealth. Okay. It's not a conversation that I avoid. It's a very important conversation. And I find that so many people that are focused on not having enough leads or business or money, or they're worrying about their next sale, they're really not in the energy of understanding that every sale you make just continues that flow of your wealth. And you're important. And if you have a fearful or lackful or energy or whatever, I suggest this year, just get rid of it. Your mind is magnificent. It's richer than ever. And the more you hold those rich beliefs, you will be amazed at the opportunities and deals that come to you, the alliances you get, the opportunities you get. Stedman Graham, who endorsed my book, I could tell you a whole story about it. It was absolutely fascinating. But I see things first and I imagine things, and it wasn't him, but it was pretty cool how he came into my life and read my book and loved it and was like, I will put anything, I'll endorse it. I love it. You're amazing. I was like, this is so cool. So it's fun to have that abundant attitude and then see those things show up in your life. So
are you
question?
Conscious can help, attract or propel you towards the people, places, and things that are going to net the results you desire for the sales success?
You're a little fuzzy. I think it might be on my end because I was fuzzy earlier. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah. Fine. No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up and then I'll open up the chat and put my face back on here, okay? That might stop this little fuzzy thing on my end. All right. So anyway, I do like to address that, you guys. So if you want to go to my website, the system's valued at $52.91 and it is $997. We're only gonna hold it at that price for 24 hours. So from noon tomorrow, you can get that and it will go back up. It's normally sells for $14.97. So it is just $997 from today till tomorrow at noon if you want to go to the website. So, and I just like to remind everyone, every decision you make is a product of your mindset. Your attitude, your behavior, your action results, and your performance all stem from your mindset. It's just important to understand that. So the link is the subconscioussalessecrets.com. Or you can go to my name, which is cappipidwell.com, but that's the link right there, subconscious subconscioussalessecrets.com. I know that's a mouthful. Maybe you could put that in the chat for me, Alex, if you wouldn't mind. Subconscioussalessecrets.com. You can also do 2 payments. You just have to pay a little more. Okie dokie. So that is my share. I'm going to escape out of this and come back to our Zoom, and I will stop our sharing here. There we go. Stop the share and come back. Okay, let's see if I can hear you now, Julia.
Hi, is that better?
I'm fuzzy on my end. Can you guys hear me?
You're fine.
Okay, I can hear you. It's just a little weird.
Okay.
Any questions or comments? Alex, how about for you?
I was just typing that in for everybody. So, I more comments than anything else. One, you said a couple phrases in there, a couple quotes. Information doesn't equal transformation, and I love that. That makes a ton of sense, because we go to a lot of different events and we take in all this information, but until we implement, until we believe in it, we don't get the transformation. So that's pretty wild. And there's a couple stories that I kind of hold near and dear to my heart, and to talk about that we're always in trance, that we actually are always hypnotized in a way. And the one that I go to that is the most extreme example for me is, we live in a Western culture, and there's a lot of different cultures, and there's nothing right, wrong, or anything about those other cultures. But I grew up on the East Coast, and so I was very close to Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, there's a community called the Amish community, right? And they live these great lives that they enjoy. So again, nothing good, bad, or indifferent from my perspective, though it's a life that I don't understand or interpret, right? No vehicles, electricity, and just the whole lifestyle.
Right.
And at 18 years old, a lot of people don't know this, but at 18 years old, the Amish children at adulthood are allowed to leave the community for up to 2 years. It's a tradition called Rumspringa, and they can do anything they want. They could come out to Vegas, where I live now. They could drink alcohol and gamble and do all the things that are really forbidden by the religion. And 92% of the Amish people go back to the Amish community. Only 8% defect. And they do that as a, hey, go out. If you want this other lifestyle, if you want to explore, be different. But they come back because, well, their subconscious is programmed, and they're products of their society. They see it through their own lens. Yes. And we are too. And we're programmed by marketing. We're programmed by everything, the clothes we wear, the cars we drive.
Yep.
Go back 30 years and, you'd every once in a while see somebody with a BMW and a Mercedes, and everybody looked at them as rich. Now it's just something to do. I mean, by the time you're 20, if you don't have a BMW, but so it's an interesting thing. And then I really liked your part about thinking outside of the box, and not only to your own identity. What is it you like to do? Like you mentioned, the guy with the angel sticker and the angel's hat, but also I ask this question of people a lot. Where was the first drive-through? What was the first business to have a drive-through? And I would say 9 times out of 10, I get the answer, fast food, of course, right? And some people don't answer that, but I think it's because they think it's the obvious answer. Well, the first fast food restaurant that had a drive-through was in 1953, and it wasn't a McDonald's, believe it or not. It was a burger joint in Florida. And the reason that happened is it was all the walk-up windows. You remember the pictures of the old McDonald's where you park your car, you walk up to the window, but the first bank had a drive-through in 1928.
Wow.
Most people didn't know that banks had drive-throughs, and either did this proprietor of a burger joint in Florida. But he went to his bank, and there was a big banner, and it said convenient new drive-up window.
Wow.
And he was in a rush, and he went up to the drive-up window, and the person wrote him the little carbon copy receipt and handed it to him, and he drove off and said, "That was amazing. Honestly, that was phenomenal. I'm going to punch a hole in the side of my restaurant, because I know there's a lot of people that don't stop because they don't have the time. They can't get out of the car, wait in line. So I'm going to punch a hole." Now, there was no squawk box or anything. You drove up, you waited for your order right there. But his restaurant sales went up 30% year over year.
Yep.
So oftentimes I don't look at what the other real estate agents are doing. What's the bicycle shop doing? What's the restaurant doing? What's the insurance company doing? And that's what I want to apply to my business.
I love it. I love it.
Major transformations in any business don't happen internally. They happen from external ideas coming in.
Right. And it's fascinating when you start to understand your own, your blocks, your stops, as I mentioned earlier, but then you start thinking outside that box and you start aligning and doing things different. You really stand out from the crowd. I mean, I can't even tell you how many over the years, how many other hypnotherapists have called me and said, how are you getting on Deepak stage? How are you doing this? How are you doing this? It's because my strategies. It's because how I think and the things that I do. I don't sit in an office and do sessions with people. It's doing it so different, right? And so I think as an agent, you get the opportunity. If anything, it's way bigger than my opportunity. And all the strategies that I teach people to do it different. At first, they're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? But it makes sense. And then when they do it, not only does their motivation go up, their productivity, their connection, I call them connection calls, they actually want to call those people. They're excited to be in front of those people. So I want to address, if I can, just for a second, the few comments in the chat. May I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Michael just said, you have terrible insomnia. Go get the free COVID session, Michael. It will change your game. Also, I have a free money checklist on my website. If you download it, it will give you a free money session. I have a lot of freebies on my website. So go there and start with those free sessions. It will help you sleep. I promise. It's amazing. And then the other one was I had a knock at the door. I missed the price. The price is $9.97 till tomorrow at noon. And again, you can go to my website. You can either go to subconscioussalessecrets.com and you can read about it there, or cappipidwell.com will take you to the same place. So I just wanted to address those people. And thank you everybody for those chats. So any other questions or comments?
So Cappi, well, somebody just said they're blocked from the website using your link. So we'll have to figure that out. So Don, I'll try and get another link over to you.
That's weird.
Okay,
so, I don't know. I was just on it a little bit ago, so that's weird. Oh, my guy might be updating something, so just try back in a few minutes. Luke might be on there doing something.
So question for you, Cappi, is you also mentioned waiting for an accomplishment or waiting for something to make you happy is backwards. So I happen to follow another gentleman, you may know him, Sean Acor, that wrote The Happiness Advantage. He's got a great TED Talk, and he talks about that. He talks about people chasing happiness. And when they get it, right, they hit this goal, but then there's a new goal. So now it resets you back, right? I'm not happy anymore. So are there any tips that you would give on how to practice daily because it's a practice of happiness, right? You don't you go, oh, I just decided to be happy. You have to do things for it. What would the tips be that you would give for that?
Great question. And I like that you say that because it is a practice and it is a process, right? It's not magic. You don't do it once and then it just happens. So the practice is really a great way to start this is pick like 3 things.
Oh. She just froze. Did she freeze for you, Julia? Oh.
Things in your life. Okay. Sorry, I froze. Weird. Pick 3 things that you're really grateful for. And then if you start down a negative path or feeling down or whatever, focus. You have to manage your mind. Focus on those 3 things we're grateful for. Even if you do it for 2 minutes a day, just practice focusing on the good things in your life versus what isn't working.
Gratitude.
Good way to start.
Love it. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. I do want to end with a couple things. One, thanking Cappi and Julia.
I lost you. I can't hear you.
Oh, Julia, can you hear me?
Okay, there you are. Weird.
All right. So I just wanted to wrap up by thanking Cappi for all of her knowledge and what she brought here today, and Julia for also introducing her and sharing her experience. And then for those of you that don't know, Chapter 2021, LabCoatAgents virtual event is next week on Tuesday. You definitely want to go to this Chapter 2021 virtual event. We've got amazing speakers from Hal Elrod to Jay Papasan, Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Michael Mayer, the 7L, 7 Levels of Communication. Phenomenal. Just go to chapter2020.com website, and you will be very happy that you went.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the opportunity to be here and be present and to help share Cappi's amazing programs. And always get something new out of it every time. So thank you so much, Cappi, for revisiting this with me too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. Happy New Year. And let's make 2021 awesome. Get in the right mindset.
Here's to your success. Thank you.